Good morning, everyone. Today, our affirmation is, I am divinely guided. So could you say that with me, and then we'll take it into prayer. I am divinely guided. As we begin 2022 together as a spiritual community, we embrace the new opportunities that we are divinely guided to with an open heart and an open mind. We are each on our own individual journeys of personal growth and development. We bring the wisdom from our lessons learned into our community so we can learn from one another. Anything worth doing this year will involve some element of risk. We summon and call on our courage as we take advantage of the opportunities that come our way. Taking a risk brings us the reward of meeting new people and having new experiences that we would not have had otherwise. We affirm together today that we are divinely guided and all is in perfect order as we move forward courageously into 2022. And so it is. Amen. Welcome to Unity of Mesa, where we enlighten, empower, and energize one another to uplift our world through a greater expression of God. I'm Jean Bettis, board member here at Unity, and today we welcome Arn Richardson, our board member of the day, and Daniel Nahmod. As you know, our guest speaker and musician for today. And today we have a white rose up here in honor of Madeline Coate, who is Jolene Swager's mother and Steve's mother-in-law. The white rose is a symbol of the purity of life. Madeline made her peaceful transition about a week and a half ago. And now we're going to have an opening song from Daniel.
Hello. Looks like sorry, I know 2 years in, I'm still not used to the mask. It looks like a convention of bank robbers. or surgeons. Let's go with surgeons. Looks like a convention of surgeons. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. Hi. I couldn't tell if that was extra sweet or not very enthusiastic. I'm not sure. Extra sweet. All right, I'll go with extra sweet. Well, I know you didn't come for me, but I'm glad you came. Do 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 do. Want to sing behind your mask? Do 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 do. Shouldn't I be grown up by now? Shouldn't I finally figured out a few things? I ain't a kid anymore. Didn't I go through this back then? Why the hell do I need to again? Who said time was a cure? For a minute I'm the man that I wanna be. Then up comes some adult non-emergency, and my costume comes apart. And I've lost count of the steps and the slips and bad habits I was sure would lose their grip, but still clinging to my heart. And I'm wondering why I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why do I learn and I forget? Oh, I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Do 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 do. How many lessons have I laid to rest? How many wins are just rewritten regrets? No, I can't understand. How many yeses sound like no's? Maybe it's best to let my memory go. Now that it's made the man I am, still I'm wondering why I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why, oh, why do I learn and I forget? Oh, I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Do 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 do. Oh, I wish I could say wisdom comes with age, but lately I ain't so sure. At the end of the day, I just hope I've made a mistake I never made before. Tell me why I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why do I learn and I forget? Oh, I learn and I forget. Yeah, I learn life ain't for the faint-hearted. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why do I learn and I forget? Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn like I'm just getting started. Why, oh, why do I learn and I forget? Yeah, I learn and I forget. Oh, I learn that life ain't for the faint-hearted. Do 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 do. I learn and I forget. Do 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 do. Life ain't for the faint-hearted. No.
And I have a few things for you to know this morning. If you'd like to hear more of the wonderful music from Daniel, be back at the church at 1 o'clock today for a special concert. If you didn't pre-register, please do so after service in the bookstore or online. And then this Wednesday and Thursday, we have 2 helpful workshops. On the 19th, join Death Doulas, Gretchen Bickert and Sunny O'Rourke for the workshop, Talk About Death, Taking the End-of-Life Discussion Out of the Coffin and Into Conversation. Through guided meditation with sound, in-depth discussion about end-of-life planning, hands-on activities, and brief presentations, you'll spend time reflecting upon this often avoided taboo topic. And then on the 20th, Gretchen and Reverend Judy invite you to join them in the workshop, Honoring Your Grief. This is for anyone who has lost a loved one, either a person or a pet, and is still struggling with the dance of grief. Find full details, dates, times, and more for either of these workshops or the concert on our Things for You to Know page at unityofmesa.org. And you can also, if you're here in person, register for those in the bookstore today. Thank you all for sharing your love and light with us this morning. Please know that your soul is welcome here. And now let's share our guiding statement to remind us why we come together. Say it with me. We are here to experience more of the fullness of who we truly are in order to transform the world. All are welcome here. And now let's welcome back Daniel.
Quick question, go ahead. When things go wrong, it's natural to wonder, what celestial rule did I break? When things go right, it's logical to ponder, what credit can I take? But the truth is so much easier. I don't need a master plan. I can live here in the moment, 'cause my life is in good hands. I don't need to know where the wind blows, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. But still I find I'm crying out for answers. Guess I'm still craving control. And still I find I'm afraid of taking chances, as if I could damage my soul. But at this moment, I remember it comes so clear to me that the minute I surrender, I'm as safe as I could be. I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Oh, I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go. I can just let go. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. Let's do a little meditation if you're comfortable closing your eyes. If you have any cynical side at all, which I would hope you do, when somebody says, you don't need to know, at least a part of you says, no, I really do. I really need to know what the weather's going to be tomorrow. I really need to know when my office is going to reopen. I really need to know when I'm going to see my child again. I really need to know if the chemotherapy is going to work. I really need to know if my stock fund is going to rise or fall. I really need to know if my plane is going to take off. One of my favorite exercises on the subject of needing to know is to consider, just for a second, one of the best things in my life. The sweetest moments, the biggest belly laugh, the closest friend, the greatest intimacy, the most gorgeous view, the favorite restaurant. Can you think of something? Now ask yourself, how did it get there? Did you plan it? Did you plan the color of your baby girl's hair that looks like the most beautiful thing in the world to you? Did you plan to meet your best friend when you crossed at this intersection instead of the next and struck up a conversation with a stranger? Or when you took a job that you didn't want, 3 months later you quit. The person you met at that job ended up giving you your dream job 15 years later. Did you plan on taking a left turn instead of a right down a side street and discovered the greatest donut you've ever eaten in your life that you never would have found if you had made the turn you were planning to make? Was the best thing in your life on your to-do list? Was it advised to you by some professional? Is the best day of your vacation the meticulously planned itinerary or the afternoon that's unscheduled? If you're like me, when I scan the horizon of the sweetest moments, the biggest laughs, even the deepest cries, the favorite people, when I scan the horizon of my own life, I do not see 10-year plans being executed. I see the gaps between my plans providing those ultimate moments and ultimate relationships and greatest happinesses. If the best things in my life weren't the planned ones, maybe I can trust the unplanned a little bit more. And maybe you can too. So take a deep breath. And just one more little exercise. Think of one of the greatest stressors in your life right now. The thing that gives you heartburn, that wakes you up at 4 a.m. when you're supposed to sleep till 7. The thing that makes you snap at strangers because you are on edge and nobody knows it. The thing that makes you truly scared to think about. Now imagine, entertain the possibility just for a minute, just for 5 seconds, that it's not yours to solve. If the worst happens, it's not your fault. If the best happens, it's not your credit. Imagine you don't need to drive that tank anymore. How would you feel? If you could take it one day at a time, one decision at a time, and not have a long-term plan. I don't know if you've noticed, most long-term plans aren't so much. They only look like it. If that deepest worry wasn't yours to fix or solve, how much of your day would be freed up to enjoy instead? I don't need to know where the time goes, 'cause God knows. I don't need to know what the future holds, 'cause God knows. I need never know how pain ends, how my heart mends. I can just let go, 'cause God knows. I'm through asking where I'm going. I've been asking all my life. I've grown tired of all this wondering when everything seems to turn out right. So when my mind needs something to do, wants to know the future, I whisper this: I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. So here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. Some say it's crazy. Some say naive to close my eyes and take the leap. But I know better, 'cause I believe even in the dark my soul can see. So when my mind plays its usual games, oh, my answer is always the same. Yeah. Here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. Here goes nothing. I'm taking a chance. I'm opening up, knowing that I'm in good hands. And here goes everything. It's all on the line. Oh, but I'm not afraid this time. No, I'm not afraid this time, 'cause I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. I'm okay. I've always been, and I'll always be that way. There's a Steve Martin movie, it's probably 30 years old now, called Parenthood. Maybe some of you have seen it. And there's kind of a culminating little scene in there that I never forgot, where grandma has been watching absolute madness from the multiple generations in the family. And at some point she says to might be to Steve Martin, she says, there are two kinds of people in the world: those who like the merry-go-round and those who like the roller coaster. And that always stuck with me. And fast forward 25 years, I've been making records now. I've been making records now for 25 years, but fast forward to, I don't know, maybe my 15th album, when I finally decided to learn how the equipment I was using worked. I have this digital piano. Maybe some of you can relate to this. Anybody have an electronic device that you're afraid to press most of the buttons? Like a microwave or whatever, right? There's always mysterious buttons. I have this digital piano that I turn on and play. And one day, Jude, our little boy who's 10, sneaks into the room when I'm not there. And I'm upstairs, and all of a sudden I hear like this fantastic, I don't know, Bach something happening. And I'm like, there's no way Jude's playing that. What the hell is happening on my keyboard? And then I hear all these different sound effects and echoes and clicks. And then I hear him playing and recording himself. And I'm like, what is he pressing? And I go downstairs, and Jude, he was 8 at the time, says, oh yeah, that button records. And that button, that button changes the sound. And this button makes this incredible synthesizer. I've been afraid to press all these buttons for some fear that the fear is what? That you break it somehow, right? There's always a fear that you can never go back. Right? Computers are famous for that too. I have no idea what that button does, and I'm definitely not pressing it. Graphic design software, if you've ever done music recording software, back there is you have a board back there or just computer? You have a board? On that board, right, are so many knobs and buttons. And I have been now making music professionally for 25 years, and I don't know what most of them do, and I'm afraid to touch them, turn them. I don't know what's going to happen, right? And that to me is the roller coaster versus the merry-go-round also. But in the music world, when I finally learned how some of the equipment I was using worked, I learned what a compressor is. And I'll be impressed if anyone in here knows what a compressor is. It would just mean that you'd spend some time in the studio and actually like reading a manual or studying this thing. So here's a compressor. The example of what a compressor is the opening line of "I Will Always Love You" by Whitney Houston, right? When it comes on the radio, it's just her voice, right? If I, and it's super present and loud and it's beautiful and rich, one of the finest singers who ever lived. And you're listening to this one voice, and it fills your car or your living room, right? Then David Foster did what he does as the producer, which means he brought in levels of genius that few can even aspire to as producers. And he brings in the orchestra and the band and so on. And right there's that big moment at the end where you hear a giant, and in comes Whitney Houston, still with one of the finest voices that's ever been known in Western civilization. And now it's singing instead of a whisper, full voice, which I promise you would cause hearing damage close up. I mean, she had what we call pipes, and she's singing full voice into probably a $10,000 microphone, and with one of the finest engineers for sure in the world there in the room, David Foster, one of the finest producers who've ever lived in the room. And there you have that moment, and that big thing, and you have the orchestra and the band, and it's all giant. But if you're in a car, there's a trick being played on you, because it feels like it's gone from quiet to loud, from intimate to big. But it actually is exactly the same volume, right? If you listen to that song in the car, you don't have to turn down the volume halfway through, even though Whitney Houston's about to scream at you, right? It's screaming, that's rude. I don't, what I mean. But so how does that happen? The answer is you use something called a compressor. What does a compressor do? A compressor is it's like a automated hand on a volume knob that when something is hitting it hard, is really loud, it goes like this. Well, in your perspective. It turns it down. And you can set how quickly it turns it down. And you can set how slowly or quickly it turns it back up after. But it's that person in this. I have scared so many sound people over the years, going from very quiet to very loud, and I can feel them go, and they turn it down as fast as they can. And that's really what a compressor is doing electronically. And there's a second step to a compressor. Once it has done that, it has ironed out all these scary moments where you might distort your speakers or hurt somebody's ears in the room, no joke, right? Once you've ironed out those peaks, and you can do it crudely, you can do it bluntly, or you can do it subtly, but once you've ironed them out, you can then raise the volume of the whole thing, right? So that Whitney Houston singing alone can be as loud as the entire orchestra at the end. So you squash the crazy loud, and you end up with approximately a flat surface of volume, no giant spikes, so you can raise the whole thing up without it distorting your speakers. There are no peaks that are going to blow out your sound system, right? That song does not apply to the following sentence. That song is absolutely masterfully produced and mixed and engineered. It is perfection. Most of us are not David Foster. And in the real world of most people using compressors, we end up with, when you compress music, is something that violates the laws of being human. You have soft patches in a piece that are no longer soft. You have volume peaks and like big expressive moments, that are no longer loud. So no matter what Luciano Pavarotti would be doing, it wouldn't be louder at the end of Nessun Dorma than at the beginning. That's not the way it's meant to be. Loud partially just conveys emotion and intensity, right? But it also is a part of, and here comes the metaphor, sorry, it's a part of life. Some parts are quiet, some parts are loud. There's peaks and valleys in every song, or there ought to be. And in fact, what happened in the music, this is off the subject really, but what happened in the music world is compression was pushed to its absolute limit. In the music industry, they called it the loudness war. And the loudness war was people wanted to make their CDs sound as loud as possible because loud tended to sell more because it grabs your ears more. When it comes on the radio, people are more likely to get excited when it's loud. So engineers started compressing the life out of everything. If you could imagine a visual representation of a Beethoven symphony, you have big moments and little moments, like waves on an ocean. And instead, you would see just flattest surface. And in music, you do see the music. Actually, there's representation of it on a screen, and it's flat as a pancake because it's maximum volume the entire time. And the cost of the loudness war was that music sounded terrible and evoked no feelings. Everything was maximum homogeneous intensity from start to finish. There was no space to feel anything. And therefore, thankfully, the loudness war subsided. But it was for about 10 years there. It was pretty desperate circumstances for somebody who wanted to sing quietly. I'm serious. Or somebody who wanted to record a quiet song that had a loud moment. Forget about it. It would be lost by the time it was released. So in life, how much do you rely on a compressor? I mean, reading the news today, like literally today, it's just so sad, right? Now, I have been out like a lunatic to Home Depot 200 times in the last year, because just before the world stopped turning, we had bought a fixer-upper. Well, it's more like a tear-down, but with unlimited budget. So we're tearing down the house one room at a time and building it back up on the same foundation. So I have been out hundreds of times. I have not limited my activity. Wore masks where I had to, but I have not limited my activity. I just haven't. My wife, on the other hand, she feels things that I don't notice I'm feeling, is kind of how I put it. My wife is an introvert where I'm an extrovert. I don't mind. I've been on hundreds and hundreds, thousands of flights and concerts all over. I sing for 10 people. I sing for 10,000 people. It doesn't ruffle me. Crowds don't do it. It's fine. For her, the mall at Christmas, an airport, a stadium, her worst nightmare. Maybe some of you can relate. She just doesn't do crowds. And I don't know if any of you remember the show called Monk. Let me see this beautiful show called Monk. Monk is a guy with obsessive compulsive disorder. He's a genius and he's a lovely person, but he's broken by a tragedy, and he has the need to wash his hands 1,000 times a day, and he's just skittish about everything. And there's towards the end of this beautiful show, multiple seasons of it, towards the end of it, a character who knew his character for years and years said, I used to think that Monk was afraid to feel anything. But now I realize he was feeling everything more than I was. And I realized that about Melina, about my wife. It's not that she's imagining the unbelievable intensity or stress of the airport or the mall at Christmas. Oh no, we all feel it. She just can't tune it out, right? The rest of us avoid eye contact, hunker down, pay attention only to the person we're talking to, and know everybody else is a faceless mass. I mean, I'm projecting, maybe I'm being too broad in generalization. But generally speaking, you go to a stadium, you don't think about 30,000 individuals. You think about the jerk in front of you who's screaming too loud, or the beer vendor, or whoever. You think about the people right in your immediate purview. Melina can't tune out all those people. For better or worse, I'm not sure. That's kind of the point of my little conversation today. Is she feels more intensely, not less, which means it's too much, right? Opening the news today, I could be thick-skinned and jaded and indifferent. Or I could, on the inside or on the outside, cry for the kids in Chicago who couldn't go to school this week. I could shake my head and say, or I could actually feel, right? It's a choice we all make all the time. Every time you see somebody homeless on the corner, right? Each of us makes the decision whether to feel something or not. We feel pity, we feel contempt, we feel anger, we feel upset, we feel something political, one party or another, doing something or not, right? Handling it or not handling. We think of an association we have with ourselves having been homeless once, or wonder about the substance abuse, or wonder about what they would do with the $5 if I hand. We have all kinds of thoughts. Do we dare to feel them or not, right? Do we press all the buttons on the piano or not? Or do we just keep it simple, keep our eyes down, and go through the day? Most of the time I have a judgment about which is a better choice, but I'm not actually sure today. Most days I think I'd rather be fully alive and be available to get smacked, metaphorically, right? To be available to have my heart broken. Because the person who isn't available to have their heart broken isn't available to have their heart healed. The person who can't get angry also can't give a full hug. We know those people, maybe we are those people. I'm certainly that person sometimes. The person who can't love all the way because it's hurt too much in the past. Every living thing grows calluses, literally or figuratively. A plant turns towards the sun because the shade is less pleasant. A turtle hides in the shell for an hour. A potato bug curls up in a ball. Everybody curls up and hides from hurt. There's no shame in it, and we couldn't stop if we tried. So it's really not the question of whether we cover up, it's whether we stay covered up. How afraid are you? How afraid am I of the valleys and the peaks? Are you willing to have an ecstatic moment? Because somebody who trains for 25 years to go to the Olympics, they're laying it all on the line for an ecstatic moment. And the distinct possibility of the deepest heartbreak of their lives in exactly the same moment. The greatest regret or the greatest triumph, flip a coin. That's what you're watching Olympic athletes do. Spectacular courage. But they only rise that far by risking that much, by actually daring to go to meet after meet after meet and do the move on the ice or on the pommel horse that scares the crap out of them. And they do the best they can, and if they land it on the day that matters, they can tell. I cannot imagine how that would haunt my dreams. You've always heard, you've heard, what would it be like to peak at 17? Well, that's a 17-year-old I'd like to be. I wasn't anything like the 17-year-olds on the gymnastics team. No, I was hunkered down. I was afraid to talk to a girl I thought was cute. much less try out for some team where it was all on the line in 5 seconds, where 20 years of training came down to one landing or not. I don't know about you, I cannot imagine living that big. But I kind of wish I did. And every so often I catch glimpses, and every so often I get opportunities to, right? I think the person on the corner who's asking for $5 is that opportunity. I do. I think the job that you want to quit is that opportunity. Because in a life governed by a compressor set on high, a job is good enough, then it's good enough. A relationship is good enough, we won't talk about that. That's a landmine. I'm not going there, right? Well, by not going there, you absolutely protect yourself from getting blown up by the landmine. But you also protect yourself from having a better relationship with that person. I have a friend who's struggling at work with a coworker, and he has been patient like Gandhi, as far as I can tell, for like 2 years. And yesterday we talked about it, and he said, I think it's time for a confrontation. And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. It could blow up, or it could go, right? We all know, I always thought it was interesting, the moment you propose marriage to somebody is either the beginning of the rest of your life with that person, or approximately the last time you'll ever see them. It's a strange dichotomy, that moment. Most people don't say, will you marry me? And if not, want to keep dating? You know? Anyway. What's that? Oh, is it in the way of stuff? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry about that. I was just trying to class up the presentation with, you know.
Whether that's futile or not is up to you to decide.
Anyway. Well, I used to dream out loud. Just being human made me proud. Now I throw my hands up in the air from disillusion and despair. My heart has taken such abuse. I've used my hurt as my excuse. It's like my hope has disappeared behind the shadow of my fear. And I wonder why they say that aging thins the skin. Then I remember I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything, no. I can right one wrong, I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in, yeah. It's time to live again. I am unjaded. What if you have to fall to grow? I've fallen hard enough to know. So what if life's not fair? Does it mean that I'm too cool to care? And I wonder when I stopped believing right will win. Then I remember I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything, no. I can right one wrong, I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in, yeah. It's time to live again, unjaded. What kind of life would I live with my heart closed? What kind of man would I be? What kind of world will I be creating if I can love with all of me? If I just love with all of me? I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything on my own. I can right one wrong. I can sing one song. I don't need to do everything. I am only one, but I am not alone. I don't need to do everything, no. I can right one wrong or sing one song. I don't need to do everything. It's time to dive back in. Yeah. It's time to dive back in. Oh, it's time to live again. I am unjaded. Whoa, unjaded.
There's somebody honest here. Thank you, Daniel. So as Gene mentioned earlier, I am on the board. And at our last board meeting, we decided on our times for our volunteers and key donors to meet with Reverends Mindy and Nikki, excuse me, on Saturday, January 22nd. So if you are a member of any of the volunteer teams, which would include but not be limited to prayer chaplains, ushers, platform speakers, hospitality, bookstore, youth ministries, bear ministries, spirit group facilitators, choir, and anybody I forgot. Hi, Logan. Hi. Your opportunities are either in person or via Zoom, and we encourage you to take advantage of these times to ask questions and get to know Mindy and Nikki better. So once again, that's on January 22nd. It's a Saturday. The 10 to 10:50 time range is for an in-person meeting here at the church, or from 1 to 1:50, there will be a Zoom meeting, and you'll want to register for that at unityofmesa.org. And then on Sunday, January 23rd, when Reverend Nikki and Mindy are here to be leading the Sunday services, about 10 minutes after the services end, we'll go ahead and open it up for a question and answer period for about an hour and 15 minutes. And that'll either be here in person and stay, or anyone who's at home watching online can then be on Zoom. But once again, you'll want to register for that. So that's the chance for the community at large, anyone who wants to be involved. So going on to the offering time, here at Unity of Mesa, we believe that God is the source of all of our abundance, and we are living in a universe that is unlimited. When we give thanks and are grateful for what we have and what we give, we open ourselves up to that abundance. Here at Unity of Mesa, our gifts of time, talent, and treasure continue to support the teachings of the Christ, our highest consciousness, to reach all who are open to the truth through the work of our ministry. I will say that there are a lot of opportunities to give here, and we believe that the more involved we get in that prosperity consciousness, the more prosperity comes back. And we've had generous donors recently. We have gutters outside. There's been some water issues in the back part of the building here, new tiles going in. There's all sorts of things that have happened, and it's because of the generosity of the people in this room and at home in our community, and we're so grateful for you. There are many ways to be financially supportive of this spiritual community. Indirectly, through our Amazon affiliate website links, or adding Unity of the East Valley to your favorite charity on Smile, Amazon, and Fry's rewards, or directly giving using our Give Online link Vanco app, or through credit card, debit card payments in the bookstore. And all the info on how to give and more can be found on our website. So now please take your gifts in your hands, and holding our gifts in our hands and our hearts and our minds, we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the greatest expression of Spirit through the work of this ministry. Let us affirm our offering blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, and all that I receive. We are thankful for the givers and the gifts.
All right, one more song for you. This one is a little different. I may have done it here one time before when it was brand new, which it would have been my newest album when everything stopped. It was a new album then, so to me it's still new. But before I sing it, I want to thank you for having me, and I also want to invite you. So this a concert at 1 o'clock is not long from now, right? Maybe an hour and a half or so. It is a casual thing, hour and a quarter, hour and a half at the most. Won't take an intermission. Just want to sing you some more songs for those of you who want to hear them. So you're invited to come back. I also, I forgot to ask if it was okay to say, but I don't have any idea what the financial arrangement is for the concert in terms of how much it costs to come. But if $5 is hard for you to afford right now, I personally invite you to come anyway. So I don't want you to not come to hear songs because you feel uncomfortable about not paying and because you feel unable to pay. Does that make sense? You mentioned generosity, which obviously a church lives on, not just money, but volunteer hours and so on. But my last year and a half has been unbelievable give and take that I never imagined would happen. I started doing Facebook live shows last March when my schedule went from completely full to completely empty. And my wife and I had just moved into this fixer-upper. Without the pile of money, we would have needed to knock it down. And so there was a moment a few days in when she looked at me and she trusts me, but she didn't marry me for my money. Let's just say I'm an independent singer-songwriter. So she looks at me and she says, what are we going to do? And she makes jewelry, which I sell at my performances. So my performances were gone, so were her jewelry sales. So we literally went to zero, like many people did, right? So my inclination, and this is not to sound heroic, it just really was my inclination. I don't know exactly what kind of music I make. It's really a pain to be asked that question 10,000 times like I have been on airplanes and, what kind of music do you make? I don't know. It's pop music. It's inspirational, I guess, but it's not Christian. I'm not Christian. It's not gospel music. I don't know what it is. Folk music sometimes. I don't know. And I don't know. It's a real pain. But I do know that I intend the songs to make the world a slightly sweeter, slightly more comfortable, slightly more connected place. I do. That's the kind of music I like to make. I can't explain it, but it's just true. So I knew that when I couldn't sing in front of any live, living, breathing bodies, that I still wanted to do it. So I found out what Facebook was, because I really hadn't cared before, and I started doing these concerts. And since then, I've done probably, I think it's around 250 since last March, or not last March anymore, is it? 19 months ago. And what happened was people, maybe there are any of you in the room who watched those early shows. Yeah, so you know what happened. I could cry talking about it. What happened was, I made it very clear, I hope you can vouch for me, I made it very clear that the concerts were a gift. I was intending to serenade somebody stuck at home, and there were many. And I have fans, sorry, pretentious word, but I have fans who are widows, right? Whose kids were 3,000 miles away, who were full on alone. And I didn't quite know what I was dealing with. I just offered to sing. And then I started getting emails and letters. And then I started getting gifts, which I did not ask for. And those gifts took us out of financial danger. And those gifts paid for our mortgage. And those gifts paid for milk in the fridge. And those gifts sent our boy to camp when he desperately needed to get out of the house. He was sad and lonely and angry and all understandable. And so for us, that's partly why, I mean, I've always said, please come to a concert even if you can't afford it. But my entire mindset about asking for money is, in a time like this, has changed. I don't know how long I can run a business without a business model, but that's what I've been doing for a year and 9 months, and it's been spectacular. So in particular, for those of you who've watched those shows, I can't tell you, I have tried to tell you through the screen how much it means to me, but I get to tell you in person how much it's meant to me and my family. We have cried in awe at the generosity that saved the family financially from, I don't know what we would have done. You know, we got unemployment, but months later, right? Months went by that we were living on the gifts that I didn't ask for from people, most of whom I had never met. Imagine how that felt. I have a stack of cards, 6 inches thick. So anyway, that's what my life has been like. So now to this song. Oh, so yes, I have CDs back there. And if you don't care about CDs anymore, I have a USB drive, which has 13 albums on it. If you don't know what a USB drive is, you don't want that either. Trust me. And I do have my wife's jewelry, and she's been making new pieces lately because I've been performing again, which is really exciting just to see my girl back at her workshop, creative again. She's been cooped up too. Like I said, I've been at Home Depot. She has not. So this song is a declaration of purpose and intention, and a truly personal song about the Holocaust surviving family from which I come and the kind of music I make and the people, the artists, the musical artists in my life who inspired me to do what I do, whatever that is. So I'm going to take one more sip of water and then do this last song for you, and I hope you'll come back at 1. And if you don't, I wish you a wonderful, peaceful, dare I say, healthy day and week and month and year ahead. We're all going to be okay. I promise. Okay, here we go. I could sing, you crank that way up, about mistakes I've made, broken hearts and broken wings. I could sing about my aches and pains and the one that got away. But it seems to me the world has its hurts to spare. Shadows are everywhere. I decided I've cried enough. There's plenty of songs about tough love. I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love. Lift somebody up instead of talking about tough love. I can't deny I still dream about the glory, the Grammy, the gold. I cannot lie, I still wish sometimes my eyes and my heart would close. But it seems to me my family escaped the war, and they never sang anymore. They lost everything they had. And if a song is all I can give back, I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love. Lift somebody up. Lift somebody up. Gonna sing about love instead of talking about tough love. Oh, no more tough love.
tell you what I'm gonna do. Gonna take my cue from a few folks I look up to. I'm gonna sing about love.
Stevie Wonder sings in the key of life. Bobby McFerrin says, "Be happy, it'll be alright." Marvin Gaye showed the way to what's going on. It's a wonderful world thanks to Louis Armstrong. Soul Asylum saved those runaway kids. John Lennon just imagined and the whole world did. John Denver took a skyward teen and turned her to the sea. Stevie Wonder to a higher love. John Legend accomplished to freedom. Pete Seeger's gonna overcome. Bob Marley just smiled at the rising sun. Eminem will lose himself before the moment's gone. Miss Jackson knows the knowledge is what we want. Gloria Gaynor maintained that we're gonna survive. Tim McGraw wants us to live like we are dying. Aretha got R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Bette Midler from a distance, the whole world we see. Tom Petty, Free Falls, Leanne Hopes, we dance. Josh Groban raises up if we're hurting. R.E.M. understands. Irving G bless the USA. Van Morrison ushered in a brand new day. Whitney sang about the greatest love of all. Johnny Nash can see clearly now the rain won't fall. Take notes for beautiful. Christina does too. Rihanna sees her shining like a diamond. We keep walking like the Foo Fighters fight the power public enemy's head. Miley is a climber. Andy Grammer keeps his head up. Bill Withers, we can lean on him. Natasha's unwritten. Taylor Swift shakes it off again. Lady Gaga was born this way. Jason Mraz truly got to be our friend today. The Black Eyed Peas wonder where is the love is. Ray got a beat. Journey never stop believing in us. Simon over trouble water made a bridge. Uncle John lit a candle for Diana. He did. It's the same love. Macklemore was moved to pray. Izzy made a rainbow with a ukulele. James Brown loud and proud. Bruce Hornsby laid it out the way it is. Queen made us into champions. U2, Dr. King and the power of one. Stan Cook made it look change is gonna come. Peter Gabriel ain't giving up on us just yet. We are the world, save lives. No star they couldn't get. Irene Cara, what a feeling alive. Pharrell Mavis, Happy Katy Perry lit a firework in the sky. Gerald King, we've got a friend. Switchfoot dared us all to move again. All McCartney's words of wisdom were to let it be. The weight of the world was taken off by Aloe Black and Avicii. So what do I do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sing about love. Sing about love. And lift somebody up. Instead of talking about tough love, I'm gonna sing about love.
Thank you.
Wow, how do I follow that? Thank you, Daniel. We appreciate you. Well, I can talk about love, though. We appreciate all you being here and all the love in this room today. And today, after the service, chaplains are available for one-on-one prayer. Do we have some chaplains here? Okay, it looks like we have several. They can be identified by their blue and white stoles, and you can meet with them after the service, either here in the sanctuary or out in the garden. And our bookstore is open today with 75% off on Christmas items. So get in on that. And our family room is also open with new artwork by Dennis Hubert. So check that out. And as Daniel said, he has a table here in the back where he's selling CDs. After lunch, come back and hear more from the talented Daniel Nahmod at the 1 o'clock concert here in the sanctuary. And now we're going to share the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful week. Think of coming back for the concert, 1 o'clock. Thank you.